How do I support my group to be more creative and fresh with our project? So you've got a group, you've got a project, you're working fairly well together, but maybe it feels a bit like the initial inspiration, excitement, and novelty of what you're creating isn't there in quite the same way. And this can happen at any stage in a project. So if it's happening for you, or it's happened for you in the past, don't worry. It's very common that this arises. And if we don't know, it's really common that it arises and that there's things we can do to breathe new life into our project. It sometimes can kind of make a project fall apart or not quite happen in the way that you'd all originally imagined. So what can you do? Well, first of all, I think it's really helpful to know why this might happen in the life of a project. Why at one point were you feeling inspired and excited, and at another point that energy seems to have dropped? Well, that's the nature of things, that we fluctuate in terms of our energy and our thinking about it. So if we're thinking that we're a bit tired by the project, or it's feeling a bit difficult, or maybe people are not showing up in the way that they were before, and we think that's a problem, we're going to be in a bit of a problem energy. Or if it's looking like the initial thing we wanted to create, the problem it addresses is greater than we can tackle, we can feel quite discouraged. So at that point, it's really helpful to remember to orient towards possibility rather than problem. So one of the things that often happens in projects and for people contributing for projects is that we lose sight of the possibility and the thing that we're creating, and we have more of our attention on the problem. And what happens, I mean, whatever we put our attention on grows, expands. That's the nature of things. It's in the nature of nature that when something has attention, it expands and grows. And what we don't want to do in creating positive change in our communities is grow the problem. We want to grow the solution, the creativity, the new possibilities and new ideas. So just checking in with yourself and your group on, are we stuck here in a problem space, or are we in the space of possibility? Can really help get things unstuck. The other thing that we can have lost sight of, and it'd be really helpful to reconnect with as a group and as individuals when we're in a project that feels like it needs an injection of freshness and creativity, is the reason you're doing it. It can be really easy to get a certain way down the life of a project and lose that connection with the initial spark, the initial kind of real motivation. So to take some time for the group to reconnect with your shared purpose, maybe it's shifted and changed a bit and it's worth updating it. And also your intended impact, like what is it that we want to make different as a result? That can just give you that fresh boost that you might be looking for. So reconnecting with the space of possibility as opposed to the problem, and reconnecting with your purpose together, what it is you're up to, and your intention for your community with what it is you're doing, can really bring a new fresh energy for you all. And then for as individuals, what really helps us to be connected to our inbuilt creativity is to remember we have inbuilt creativity. So when we get into the nuts and bolts of making something happen, when we're in action and we're doing things at the stage of the project where there's new things happening. So maybe it's not the very beginning anymore. Maybe you're a bit further down the line. And we can have a tendency as humans to get into our head. When we're out there and we're involved and it's happening, we can start to overthink. As humans, actually, we can overthink at any time. We've always got millions of thoughts going through our head. I don't know the exact number, but it's at least thousands a day. Some of them we see and some of them we don't. And some of them we latch onto and some of them pass on through. When we latch on to an idea or our thinking, we kind of hold that in place and we're less open to alternatives and new ideas and new thinking. So it's really helpful to remember that in every moment we can look around us or have a look at the situation and create something new in every moment that feels fresh. I mean, an example of our ability or capacity that's inbuilt to do this, I always like, is making lunch. Right, imagine a scenario where you've got a few bits and pieces in your fridge. You go to your fridge and you're like, yeah, that. And soon enough, you've whipped up a decent meal. Now, on another day, we might go to the fridge and we open the fridge, same bits and pieces in there. But we're like, I've got no food in, no idea what to make. Look at the fridge and, well, I don't know, feel a little bit discouraged. Same fridge, same bits and pieces in there, different state of being. The state of being that sees the bits and pieces in the fridge and creates a lunch is the same state of being that sees what's going on in front of us in our project and has the energy and inspiration to take a step forward in a fresh and creative way. And that's always available to us when we know where our state of being is. So we can ask, am I feeling like I'm creative and fresh within me? Am I connected to that within me? Or am I a bit in my head, a bit discouraged, a bit down and focused on that lack of freshness and lack of creativity? When we notice that, if we are stuck and we feel the need for freshness and creativity, we can just take a moment to allow our minds to settle and to connect within us to that capacity for creativity and sense for it. And when you sense for it, listen to what it tells you to do and take a step. And when we do that, for each of us, we touch fresh, we touch creative. Have a go with it. And something as small as making lunch. Just notice, what state of being do you bring to that? And how might you bring the fresh, creative, innate state of being to your community project and encourage others to do so too?